Hey, it's Ashley and Jake with Moderno Construction Management. And while we build new construction homes all over the South Metro, today we were really going to focus on sharing with you other options when people feel like maybe they don't want to move or they're in the right area and they just picking up and moving just seems like too much of a restraint on their lifestyle. There's a couple different options between remodeling and also additions. And Jake, when we're chatting with our customers and kind of assessing the need or desire for remodeling in general, let's just talk about the next best steps, for the listeners that are just wondering if maybe that's an option for them, but it just seems like such a big task to think about remodeling a home, right? So kind of walk through what that looks like, even for this particular client that we remodeled behind us here. What are the steps and what could they expect as far as how it affects their lifestyle, how we assess budget, things like that?
Yeah, no, for sure. Obviously starting that first conversation with budget's always key, right? Not that money's everything, but we know that everybody has a budget and we respect that budget. So just letting the customers and clients know where their budget allows them, what it gets them, right? Or are we trying to get a full kitchen addition? Or are we trying to get a remodel going? Just asking those questions, right? Once we establish that, we get into the construction part of that, right? Are you going to be in the home while this is happening, right? Do we advise that we kind of move out with the kids and the pets and all that, right? Because it can be disruptive, right? You got people working there sometimes early, later in the day, interfering with that daily lifestyle. So we want to advise people and keep that in consideration for budget. Do we have to find a rental, for an X amount of time? So talking through all those steps to make sure the transition is also nice. We don't, to minimize the stress is important.
I think that's actually a really good point, Jake, because I think maybe some remodels can approach this and, maybe they really want the business and so they make it really seem like it's going to be, low stress and everything's going to be fine, when in reality, there is a disruptor to life sometimes especially when we're dealing with a kitchen or some of those more important areas of the home. Sometimes it makes sense to stay, but understanding if it doesn't, what that looks like and what they would be, up against as far as that goes. I think that that's a really, really good point to make as well. And then how do we go about establishing budgets, right? So where do we start and stop in a remodel, right? And what does that look like? Like, what could we expect for a process in sitting down and assessing that? Yeah.
For sure, getting involved with a good design team, and then also bring in an architectural or drafting arm, right? So once we bring the ideas and all the fun things with the drafting, we kind of come together in a room and we start talking about how that affects our daily life, right? And how we can accomplish and really satisfy the needs of the client and what we're trying to accomplish with this remodel or addition. So bringing all of us to the table, expressing the concerns and the issues that we're having to build that beautiful space, then taking that set of plans and that design that we've come up with and getting that bid out, right? So we're asking the contractors and all the specific tradespeople that are experts in their field to say, hey, what does this cost, right? We bring all those numbers back to the table and share with our clients what that looks like, right? Where the money's going for cabinets and where the money's going for framing and roofing and all the different things. So it helps make those decisions easier and they really know where the money's going.
So Jake, when we meet with clients, they come to us with pinch points, right? Something doesn't work in their house. It's a kitchen, it's a bath, the kids are on top of each other in the mudroom. Things just aren't working, right? And so the first step that we do is really having them come into our office, meet with them, and just listen, ears on, to know where they're at and where they want to be. And oftentimes it doesn't take an addition, it can really just take a remodeling and kind of realigning of space to really achieve those goals, right? And so the first step that we do when we're assessing that is to take a look at the floor plan. And if a floor plan doesn't exist, we can have our drafter come in and really get a lay of the land so that we know what we're working with as far as design. And then we start having really good conversations with the design team and the drafter and ourselves from a builder's perspective that also offers value. So sometimes like an architect or a drafter, they'll draw things, but they're not cognizant so much of budget or of even, wall heights and things that, corners and things that might just be a value prohibitor where you would see it through your lens and really say, that's not a great idea, right? Or something. Right. So you have three people coming together, the design team, the drafting, and us to really listen. Yep. And the client, yeah. And the client. And then, I would say the design team meets that client where they're at to kind of unfold the dream, indeed. So at that point, Jake, take it away from there. So we're sitting down with a drafter, the design team, the client, ourselves, and taking a look at the floor plan. Now what? Now we've modified that floor plan on paper. Where from there? Yeah,
for sure. So after looking and analyzing that design, we'll definitely send this out to all the local professionals in the industry, right? We want to make sure that we've got the best plumber that's going to fit that job and the best framer and the best, all the people that will assemble to put this together, and ask them all the questions about why we're doing things and to get those bids back Once we have those, we sit down with the clients and we discuss all the budget items, right? And we explain to them why the numbers are where they are, right? Whether it's pushing our budget, maybe we're coming under budget, and we just have those conversations.
Yeah, and I think the unique thing about what we do at Moderno Construction Management, it's not that we have a proposal and we slide it across the table and expect a signature. It's never like that when you work with us. We're always open book and we take a look at every category and we build it out as a worksheet and just really ask the questions. Is this where you want this? Is this, and you really value engineer that together, right? So as you're sitting down and you're assessing this remodel, we have open conversations about everything that's going into that project, and we can kind of turn the volume up, turn the temperature down, based on their needs and their budget, right? So it really is a working relationship to get those numbers where they need to be.
Yeah, I usually like to tell people, it's not a proposal, it's an educational process. You know, it's educating the clients. It's less stressful that way, right? We're educating clients and they make the decisions, right? They're the ones telling us where they want to see the budget go and how to drive that across so that they feel confident when they start the project of what they're spending.
I think that's a great point, Jake. And I think our clients, we don't have them respond to a number. We really have them respond to the different categories and then build that number together is really the difference in Moderno Construction Management. So overall, that is the process of how we would assess a remodel and then, of course, move forward when things start making sense and the numbers line up. So for more information on additions or remodels, feel free to reach out to Jake or myself, Ashley, at homesbymoderno.com.